I'm Polly, I'm your host. This is my 4th episode. Typically I start with and end with a hat that's my teaser hat. And as you can see, this is the same teaser hat that I had last week, and there's a reason for that. I am going to introduce you to this hat, but it's probably going to be a couple of weeks, and I'll explain why. This is a great hat for Easter and spring anyway, as you can tell from the color. So let's give that a couple of weeks. Hopefully that entices you to keep watching me for a couple of weeks. But I need to dedicate 2 episodes to probably one of my favorite holidays on the planet Earth, St. Patrick's Day. Not only are these going to be a normal hat trick introducing you to 3 hats, I'm going to turn them into a Texas-style hat trick. So I'm going to introduce you to 4 hats in each episode. Let's get on with it, and let's do some St. Patrick's Day shenanigans. Welcome to the hat trick. All right, guys, welcome back to the hat trick. Again, this is a Texas-style hat trick, so I'm going to introduce you to 4 hats. I'm going to do my best to keep this under 10 minutes. I think I'll be able to do that just fine. The very first hat that you saw me put on in the earlier part of this video is one of my favorite brands and probably one of my favorite hats from them. This is Peaky Hat's The Apple. This guy, obviously in the traditional Peaky Hat manner, has a lot of flop and drape, but even though Peaky Hat has not done a St. Patrick's Day release or a release dedicated to St. Patrick's Day, they do have a couple of green hats that you could totally rock for St. Patrick's Day, and this is one of them. This guy goes for $59, and it is also available in the latest color he came out with was Midnight Blue, Storm Gray, and Beryl Brown. But this is their hunter green version of the apple. And as you can see, again, traditional Peaky Hat flop drape. And here's the hunter green up close. You can see some of the speckling in it. I say there's some gold in there, which again goes perfect with St. Patrick's Day. And it is the apple. In traditional Peaky Hat manner, you do have the 2 little tie ribbons back here, which I'll probably remove because it fits me perfectly. But if one of their sizes does not fit you perfectly, you can tighten it up because they have those built into all of their caps. And again, folks, the apple from Peaky Hat, this guy goes for $59, and I will include my normal discount codes for everything I introduce you to this week. Peaky Hat's The Apple is number 1. Let's move on to number 2. Welcome back to the hat trick. Hat number 2 this week. I was so excited to see this hat come out. This came out from Funkybrims. They released this on Monday. They released it with 6 different hats with their collab with Hales Speed Shop. This is the Funkybrims Feeling Lucky Green Cheyenne Patchwork Cap. And this is a flat cap. This cap is just amazing. I'm so fortunate that I was able to snag one of these. They sold out pretty quick. There is the flannel that matches it from Hales, and all these other colors are intermingled in here for one heck of a patchwork cap. If this doesn't scream St. Patrick's Day, I don't know what does. Inside is their Hales collab Feeling Lucky tag. And again, this guy's a size 60, which is what I normally wear. The brim underneath, it's kind of got this rough woven type of fabric. And then it's got the green corduroy, the black corduroy. It's got so many different colors kind of etched in here. I love this cap, and it looks so good. You could easily wear this for any occasion other than St. Patrick's Day, which is kind of cool. It also comes with their Feeling Lucky Cheyenne pin. The cap automatically came with it. These guys sold out quick. As a matter of fact, I think Chris actually took them off of the site because there's just none left. So what I did want to do, because I didn't want you to just kind of feel left out, and that you couldn't get the hat. You could on the secondary market. However, another one that they introduced on Monday as well is the Feeling Lucky Cheyenne Newsboy. And again, there's the flannel, the Hales flannel that comes with it. This was one of the short sleeve shirts that they came out with. Again, they have kind of that rough, really interesting textured green. The flannel again, the green corduroy. It's got a gray brim, which is really cool. And it's got, this one has the Cheyenne label in it and the Feeling Lucky label in it and back. Again, this hat also came with the pin, and the pin is right here. This guy goes for, I think, $84 $4, give or take. And again, I will share what I know to be the current discount code that you can use for this. There are some of these left in stock, but they're only in a few sizes, so you might want to check it out if this is something that you really like and something that you want to add to your collection. Again, the Funkybrims Feeling Lucky Green Cheyenne Newsboy is this guy right here, out of the line that Chris and his company dropped on Monday. Had to get my hands on it. I've now actually introduced you to 2 hats. So this was actually hat number 2 and number 3. Let's get to number 4 to complete this Texas style hat trick. All right, we made it. Hat number 4 of a Texas style hat trick. I'm sure you guys kind of recognize this. This was the Boston Scally Workshop St. Patrick's Day edition cap that came out not this last Friday, but the Friday previous to that. It's one of their 16 panel patch caps. When it first went online, it almost looked kind of gray. But as they started to release some more pictures of it, you can kind of see it's definitely green, but it definitely leans towards the darker side of the greens. Olives, there's some black in there. I think there's a dark green herringbone. So it's a really interesting cap. At first I was kind of on the fence with this one. Now that I've had it and worn it for a couple of times and with a couple of outfits, I really like the cap. It also came with their workshop pen. That was part of the workshop line, comes with the workshop pen so far. It retailed for $54. It is sold out at the moment, so the only way you could get one of these is on the secondary market. However, don't forget, Boston Scally does occasionally restock with items that they get returned. So if you keep an eye on this guy for the next couple of weeks and you're still wanting to get one, there is a possibility that some of the sizes will be out there in very limited quantities that you can snag if they do indeed put them back in inventory. But again, the Boston Scally Workshop. The other thing is the inside of this has a great picture. If you were fortunate enough to get the dust bag that came with this, the dust bag looks like this too. I just love the inside of this as much as I do the outside because it's so uniquely different. Boston Scally Workshop, I'll put a code that I think most of you guys know anyway. That's a discount code. And this completes our hat trick for this week. So let's get to the social updates. All right, guys, let's get to the social activity for this week. There's been a lot of it, and I do hope that these summaries are kind of helpful in some way, shape, or form. Swisher Apparel dropped their Arctic Glacier 8.4 Blinders line cap yesterday. It's another lined cap, probably getting close to being the last of the cold weather caps that they're going to release, if not maybe one more. But it's a sharp looking cap if you want to take a look at that. Let's see, Peaky Hat had a huge week. They were a guest, the owner, Ryan, was a guest on the Gentleman's Roundtable earlier this week, where he introduced us to the Gallant, which is a flat cap made of Harris tweed. And Ryan kind of walked us through some of the things that he does to make that hat stand out from the crowd, which I thought was very interesting. And then towards the end of that show, he also introduced us to the Renegade and the Rogue, which is the Renegade is the traditional newsboy and the Rogue is a flat cap. Both of them are going to be denim material, and both of them, I believe, come in 3 different colors. I believe there's a black, there's a standard blue, and a light blue. I believe that applies to both of them, but we'll know for sure on this coming Friday, which is the 6th, when that drops. So keep an eye out for those. If that's something that you enjoy when in terms of a denim cap and a denim newsboy or a denim flat cap, you're going to want to snag one of those. I have a feeling those will go pretty quick as soon as he introduces those. Funkybrims on their standard Thursday evening live stream introduced us to the very first wave of summer caps with a linen line. Some really good looking caps. There was the linen wheel, which was the newsboy, and then there was the linen line, which was the flat cap. Both of them were kind of indigo bluish in style. Good looking caps, and happy to be snagging a couple of those so I can add them to my summer lineup, which hopefully we get some warm weather soon. Boston Scally had their Green Friday sale. It's still going on. They did extend it. It's a 20% off sale. Along with that, they introduced us to their pot of gold cap, which was an 8-panel they dropped, and then they re-released the Shillelagh, which is a flat cap patchwork cap, which has been out there for a while, which a lot of people have wanted, so they definitely brought that back too. I believe this might be the end of their St. Patrick's Day push, so we're probably going to start to see Easter and spring styles come back from them. And then last but not least, Chowdaheadz dropped they dropped 2 limited editions this week. One was their pinstripe Shelby Baker Boy, which is a beautiful cap. And I think it comes in 3 different cuts that they normally have out there. And then they also introduced us to their St. Patrick's Day vintage cap. That might have been released previous to this week, but this week was the first time I saw that out there when I was looking at the new Shelby Baker Boy that they dropped. Again, this is a teaser cap, and one that I will introduce you to in the second round of the St. Patrick's Day editions that I have out here for Texas style hat tricks. And I would be amiss if I did not give a quick shout out to the men's and women's USA hockey teams for bringing home the gold. I think that was awesome. There was some great fast hockey games there that were just amazing to watch. I think it's so cool that they brought the gold home, and they brought it home in the 250th birthday of our country. So last but not least, if you're going to do Irish, you got to do it the right way. Man, Chowdaheadz has some great t-shirts. This is one of them that I'm super excited to don this year. I'll probably be wearing this one out on St. Patrick's Day. There's another one that I got also, which was a custom one that allowed us to put our last name into a pub style shirt. So I thought that was pretty cool. So there you have it. I hope I was able to summarize this in an accurate way for you and get you some kind of benefit in some way, shape, or form. Thank you for joining me for another edition of The Hat Trick, and we will see you guys again real soon.